Good afternoon, Sharron.
Afternoon, is it, Adam?
I don't actually know. 12:12.
Oh, it is afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sharron.
Good afternoon, Adam.
How have you been?
Well, thank you.
Fantastic.
And you?
Yeah.
Why are we so formal?
Because we've got an interview and a guest.
I'm excited.
On our pod, as we discussed.
Right. Did we?
Yeah. Well, I think we did.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, you good?
We are good.
What are we doing today?
Today we've got a very exciting guest in the house.
Ooh.
Actually, we're in her house.
Yes, true.
We're talking to an amazing founder, amazing business. She's built something incredible. And today this is about digging deep and finding out all about Sarah Donegan, co-founder of Samuels Donegan.
Wow. Sarah, it's important to note that Sarah is also one of our amazing Juno clients, and that she is a total weapon. And I suppose, one of these things, and part of our wanting to sort of interview more founders and operators is to kind of understand their story. And we talk about this, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think that that's important because there's all these things that a lot of founders don't talk about that they go through, and they don't ever share that with anyone because it's complicated and it's tough and it's challenging, and we sort of think it's probably pretty important to bring that out as much as Sarah wants to or doesn't want to today, and bring that out so that everyone can go, yeah, that's how I'm feeling, that's sort of what it's been, and that's the journey that I've been on, because everyone goes on a bit of a different journey. Yep.
So given that, I think there's a lot to cover, so we're going to split the episodes to do it all justice. So I think we'll start with Sarah, her story, what shaped her, what she's known for, and then we'll get into a little bit about the business, the behind-the-scenes reality, the leadership, the hard yards, and all of that goes with it. So let's start at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Sarah, welcome.
Thank you, Sharron. Thanks, Adam.
How are you feeling today?
Good, excited.
Excited? Are you a potty person or is this new territory?
Definitely a potty person. So I have listened to a couple of your episodes, which are incredibly good. So I'm glad I tuned in. So big fan of the podcast.
Excellent.
Before we dive in, let's give yourself a bit of a plug. What's the business? What do you do? What's your amazingness? Kind of give us a bit of an update.
Yeah. So Samuels Donegan is a boutique HR recruitment agency. So we work across the country with obviously a huge range of clients. We've got a team of 13, and we'll be coming up to our 8th year of business in January 2027.
Whoa! Congrats.
Okay, 8 years.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a super achievement.
Yeah.
So many businesses don't make it out of those first couple of years, right? That shift out of those first few years where people sometimes just give up, it's too hard. 8 years, that's amazing achievement.
Congratulations,
yes,
that is
very true.
It's
Yeah.
incredible.
So let's start with a little bit about your personal story. And I think that when we really, this whole interview process for us, it's really nice for us to understand and go back and learn all about the person before we start to talk about the business. So if we go back before Samuels Donegan, who were you?
And I think it's important to note that Sarah and I met. I mean, how many? I can't even know how many.
Baby.
It probably would have been 15 to 20 years ago.
I think it would have been about 20 years.
I don't think I knew this.
Didn't you know this? Oh, in a previous life.
Exclusive.
And I think
An exclusive?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, we had you potentially interviewed me. Obviously, didn't get whatever fucking job I was going for because I was too shit. But
Or you were too good.
I was too good. Oh, good
Definitely
one.
too good.
But and then as serendipitously, it sort of came back around, and then I don't know. Oh, you got introduced to us, and I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, I think I've met her before somewhere. And then we sort of we put unpicked and put two and two together. So I would consider Sarah an old friend of mine now, considering. But anyway, that was just a little bit of goss on the relationship.
So yeah, I go before Samuels Donegan. Where did you grow up?
Yeah, what's your
shaped
story?
you? How do you see the world?
Of course. So I am a Perth girl, so I moved over here.
Perth.
Yep,
I'm a
from West
Sandgroper.
Oh, no way.
Geraldton.
No.
No, well, hang on a minute. You're not real. You were there for
I know this story.
you were there for a week or something.
2 years.
Oh, no way. Oh, my God. I could tell. I could tell. So I moved to Perth when I was about 25 and just, Perth's lovely, but it's a small town kind of thing. So,
and it's got the doctor, the wind that comes across in the afternoon. Yeah. So
yes.
I'm a Perth guy.
Great weather. Miss the weather. So yes, I moved over at 25. I used to work in HR. And it was great and I enjoyed it, but I kind of was like, came to Melbourne. My cousin works for Michael Page and she was like, you should do recruitment. And I'm like, recruitment? Kind of like, why would I do that? Anyway, moved to the dark side, as they call it. And yeah, never looked back. I met my husband here and I've been here 22 years now. So that's kind of the very high level kind of version of me.
Love it. I suppose, and we ask this question all the time, what was the moment, or was there a moment that you were like, this is what I'm going to do? Like, what was that sort of, and I know my moment, but I go, what was your moment? What was the thing that's like, fuck it, this is it. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah,
I know what you mean. It's interesting because I'm a little bit different because a lot of people, you either kind of start out as an agency recruiter and you just stick with it. Not many people come from an internal kind of HR role and move into agency recruitment and stay in it. I think I was really passionate about HR, so I liked that. That was super interesting to me. It was my kind of area of expertise because, you worked in agency recruitment. They're kind of like, what do you want to do? Marketing, finance, IT? And I'm like, I want to do those areas. So I kind of knew my niche, and I think when I sort of landed, I think recruitment, the longer you do it, the easier it gets. So when you build up those relationships and you've really got that rapport, I think after probably about 5 years, I was kind of like, okay, I've got something here. Like, as in, I've got a credibility, and, that sort of, to me, I think I cared a lot, which I think is a lot different, I suppose, to most recruiters, because I think it's very transactional recruitment, generally speaking. So I think that probably has stood me in good stead, and also kind of had the longevity piece come to it.
We often talk about when people look at their careers and they look back and they go, was it a deliberate decision to move into the space that you moved into, or did you fall into it? Because, I mean, there's
everyone that you talk to in recruitment is like, I fell into it.
Nobody wakes up in the morning one day and says, I want to be a recruiter. Never.
So it is, you fell into it?
100%. 100%. Never thought I would be in this gig at all.
What did you think you would do?
That's a really good question. I actually, funnily enough, bizarrely, I actually really liked journalism. And if I literally had my time again, that's probably where I'd go. I like writing, so I like words. Definitely if I tried that again. But I do love my job because I love people and I love talking and I'm curious and all that kind of stuff. So definitely fell into recruitment. I think most people would probably say that.
I'm going to try and find someone that deliberately chose recruitment.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
doesn't exist.
I also, Michael Page was actually my first job ever. And
it was.
Like, did you not know that?
Page,
Oh, that was back in the heyday.
The good old days.
Oh, those good old days were interesting. I suppose the furthering that question is, it's about what was the point that you went, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to own and run a business, for better or for worse.
Very naively. Thought I could do it better than my boss, basically.
Standard.
Confidence is a wonderful thing. I think my current, obviously, business partner, Evelina Samuels, we used to work together at another firm, and we were probably the top consultants. We had a great reputation. I think we got to a point where, typically it's like when you have those rage quit moments, a couple of things had happened.
Was it a
leadership.
Rage quit, was it?
Oh, yeah.
It
was
know
very
this.
close to a rage quit. So we did a strategic rage quit over a 6-month period. I had it was really funny. We literally just got really drunk one night. We were pissed and we were like, blah, 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 we can do it better ourselves, yada, yada, yada. Of course, no idea what actually it took to run a business. And then I remember the next morning, it was literally like we were quite drunk and I was like, I wonder
Are we actually going to do this?
Yeah, literally. I texted her and said, hey, you know what we talked about last night? Are you in? And she's like, yeah. And so that was it. That was literally it. So that was the start of the journey.
A lot of the stories, the ones that we've asked, they sort of inevitably have this similar sort of vibe. A couple of drinks and then a couple of things being said and then a conversation the next day. And it's like, well, okay.
Suddenly they're away.
What's happening?
I think alcohol's a consistent theme with that kind of stuff.
It took me a year to convince Sharron, but anyway, it's another story.
We often talk about the name of a business. Now, yours, for those that know you and your business partner, they're your last names. So when we ask this question, we're like, what's the story behind the name? So I'm still intrigued to understand the story
Sharron.
behind the name.
Was this developed over the drinks the night that you can't quite remember?
We had so much trouble coming up with a name. Like literally, it was just ridiculous. And which is ironic now that you think of what the business is. And I had actually, so for people that don't know, Evelina we're yin and yang. So she's very brand creative driven. She takes care of all of that kind of stuff. And I had said to her at the very beginning, what about we just go with like our names? And she's like, oh, don't be ridiculous. Like literally it was just like, that was clearly not going to be, that wasn't going to fly. Anyway, for about 6 months we were like this, and we had like Hello Talent, we had the Talent Lab, and we loved all these kind of cool names, but either domain wasn't available or it just didn't fly. And then we were lunching with a very experienced operator in the market, and she said, why don't you just go with your names? And of course, Evelina was like, actually, that kind of makes sense.
the branding genius.
Funny that. So
Didn't I say that long ago?
And she was just kind of like, it's original. And I mean, it was a bit, I was kind of like, oh, really kind of thing. And actually, the funny thing is, to this day, my husband still says, it should be Donegan Samuels. And I'm like, honey, it just doesn't work. So that's how it came to be.
And I suppose, you mentioned your co-founder. Well, what does the partnership look like day to day? I mean, have you got really, really sort of defined roles as such, or is it, because there's what we see in these businesses, in all businesses, I would say, and in ours as well, is there's owner responsibilities, and then there's kind of operational day-to-day responsibilities.
Yeah.
Talk us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got really lucky here without even knowing it. So we're very similar personalities and probably have similar values and things like that, both fairly extroverted. But when it comes to our skill sets, they're actually quite different, and we realised this pretty early on. And what we made a decision early on to really kind of stay in our lanes, if that makes sense. And I think that served us really well. To this day, we've never had a fight or anything like that. We're a very happy couple, all that kind of fun stuff. And I think part of that is recognising what each other's strengths and weaknesses are, and we lean into those. So for example, from I'm quite a big picture strategic, I'm thinking a few years in the future, where Evelina can be very focused on the detail, and she'll be the one running an audit kind of thing. So she's great because she she works really well.
Sounds a little familiar.
Yeah, you guys have a similar relationship. And so what I think it's done over time is it's actually it's balanced us both out.
Yeah.
So I know to get more down on the detail, and she's actually, her perspective is kind of now. So we've really helped each other in that aspect. But in terms of the actual day-to-day running of the business, we do have slightly different roles. So she'll run the ops, she'll run all the kind of the marketing, etc. I'll do more of like the people leadership, sort of a bit more of the financials, etc. So it works really well.
I'm going to ask another question.
Ooh, really, are you?
Yeah. I'm going to go off script.
Oh, I don't like that.
I know. That's why I do it actually half the time.
It's to piss me off.
Yeah, pretty much. If you hadn't met her, would you have done it by yourself?
Oh, it's a really good question, Adam. And we literally say this all the time. I would never have done this on my own.
Yeah.
I am probably not that person that would have been. It's funny because I always say I'm not driven. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so competitive. What am I talking about? I think it was one of those, serendipitous moments that we both saw in each other. We're like, oh, okay, you're actually really good at this. I could learn something from you. And she's thinking the same, and it just worked kind of thing. So I don't think either of us separately would have done this, etc., unless we had literally met.
Amazing.
Great question.
Thank you.
Diamond.
I'll just chop
We'll
that
let
one.
him get away with that one.
Yeah, we will. We'll come back to more about the business later. But first, we want to talk about what you're known for.
Probably depends who you ask, to be honest. I'm thinking about what my family would say versus what
that's good.
the market would say.
Let's start with what your husband would say about you.
Oh, yeah.
I love these questions.
Oh my
There's
God.
actually in our recruitment questions, it's like, what would your partner say about you?
That's so funny. My husband, he's adorable, and we've been together for a very long time. He is just the most lowest ego person. So, literally, and he works in construction, so he's in a different world, and he's a surfer, super into nature, does not care about money, could not care less about money. So the other day when we were obviously in the AFR the other week, and, that's a personal goal of mine has been, to get quoted in the AFR. So I'm like, hey, my God, we're in the AFR. And he's like, what's that? I literally, it could not have fallen flatter. Like, literally, he was like, oh yeah, good work. Like, so I don't get, if I'm looking for validation from my husband, I don't get it, if that makes sense. But he's very proud of me, etc. But and the funny thing is, like, my parents who are now in their 80s, they're just like, I still think they have no clue what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? So there's a little bit of that. But I think in terms of what I'm known for in the market and from a professional perspective, I think really acute insights to the market, and that's something that always comes through. I like to be well read. I want to know what's happening, because at the end of the day, what happens in the job market day to day here in Australia is wholly dependent on what's happening from a global perspective, in terms of what's happening from geopolitics, what's happening at a macroeconomic level. All of that stuff plays into it. So, I need to be informed. So therefore, when I'm giving advice and insight to clients and candidates, it needs to kind of make sense. And I think I'm good at breaking that down into why something is happening right now, or what's trending, or what's going on, all that kind of stuff. And I think also I'm known for probably just that genuine candidate care. We talk about it in recruitment, but it's one of those things that, for us, your client is always your candidate, vice versa type of thing. Yeah. So for us, it's the same relationship.
We do have this later on, but we will congratulate you for being in the Fin Review.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And I'm going to read this because I want to get it right, but you were recently ranked number 2 in the top 10 thought leaders in HR on LinkedIn Australia out of more than 1 million profiles analysed worldwide, where you are described as a voice that cuts through because it is grounded in the real HR market, where substance is finally beating noise. And I think your own business described that as a mic drop moment. Does that resonate with you when you hear that?
Wow, yeah.
And firstly, congratulations again.
Thank you.
2 congratulations in the same sentence.
God,
You've done.
Well deserved.
Very well deserved.
Look, I think it's, people are like, God, probably sick of us seeing her on LinkedIn, but like I do genuinely, I'll share insights because I want to help people understand, right? So we deal with a lot of job seekers that might be coming onto the market. They've always got their jobs through networks, and they're a super experienced executive, and they're like, what is going on? I can't get a job, there's this, there's that, all that kind of stuff. And so we really, I think for us, part of our ethos is that we really, our whole tagline is, hiring talent the human way. So, for us, it's really, we're in HR, it's a relationship-driven profession. So it's really important that we can, really share those insights, and we don't see ourselves as a transactional business. We're a long-term, a lot of like my clients, some of my best clients, probably known them for 20 or 25 years. They were grads and now they're CPOs or whatever it might be. So I think, we play that long game, and that's what's really important to us as a business.
Because, that whole journalism vibe is sort of obviously comes through in your day-to-day. But I go, is there a moment in your career that sort of cemented that reputation as being the thought leader? Because, we love all your stuff on LinkedIn. It's super interesting. But I go, is there, or was that just something that sort of gradually just became a part? Or was there a moment? Because some people go, I decided that I really want to progress this side of me and I'm going to actively do this. Or others go, well, it's just sort of part of me and it sort of just muddles its way forward.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point. And I think, and partly probably when we started the business, because I always recall that when we worked for another organisation, it was always like, be mindful of the brand, don't do this, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. Like,
and then rage quit.
Yeah, exactly, rage quit. You couldn't really be authentic. And I think the great thing about starting a business is I was 41 at that time, and I think the great thing also about your 40s is that you literally just don't give a shit anymore. Like, you actually don't care. So that whole care thing just goes out the window. I don't know what it is. You just shake it off. So I think, I was kind of like, I'm actually not afraid to put my opinions out on paper. Not everyone's going to agree with it. I think it makes sense, but, I'm just going to go for that. And I think, when we first started the business, it was COVID. We didn't have any, we didn't have a marketing team. It was Evelina and I, and literally LinkedIn was one of the only places really that you could actually put out, because you couldn't have face-to-face meetings or anything like that. You could actually put out your thought leadership around that. And I think that's when people start going, oh, actually, okay, this person's not just a recruiter. They actually understand my profession. And I've just delved into that. I've just really enjoyed, that curiosity kind of piece.
And it's actually really funny. And I was thinking about this as I was doing my pre-reading, as Sharron makes me do my pre-reading, I feel like that there's two versions of thought leaders, right? There's the you version, which I would consider an actual thought leader, and then there's people putting content out to try to be a thought leader, and I go, how do you be different? And I go, one is content, one is experience, one is the way it's written, one is the amount that you post, and I go, and this is what sort of dawned on me when I read this. I'm like, how do you be? Can you be a true thought leader, or are some people just not thought leaders trying to be? Like, how do you see that?
Yeah, it's a really interesting point, and we literally were just discussing as a business that LinkedIn is literally in the process of changing its algorithm. So very interestingly, HR and leadership is one of the most crowded spaces on LinkedIn. And obviously now there's...
What about business consulting?
No, you guys, there's no competition.
No.
But what's interesting is that obviously with the advent of AI, we've obviously now got a lot of AI slop.
Yeah.
Now that means that there is just a ton of content, like literally just all looks the same. So what they're saying now is that a lot of thought leadership is actually just people are not interested because there's just so much of it. Correct. And it's just so shit, basically. Yeah. It could have just been written by AI. So they're like, if it sounds like it's to be written by AI, don't even bother putting it out. So it's interesting that you say that because there's like all the big speakers and they're all putting this out and all that kind of stuff. I think that's
a whole bunch of nobody's doing it.
100%, exactly.
Yeah.
And so,
but in their minds, are they thinking that they're thought leaders?
No, but I don't think that they. This is another whole conversation. I mean, we should do a podcast on thought leaders. That would be really interesting. But I go, there's people that have chosen that they want to be a thought leader, and therefore they're like, I'm going to be a fucking thought leader in this, and I'm going to post content to make me a thought leader in that.
I think you're right. It's like the whole life coach phenomenon. I'm going to be a life coach. Okay, great. What experience do you have? Yeah. Why would you be in any position to coach anyone else? I think it's a bit of a thing, a thought leader. I want to be a founder. I want to be this. Do you know what I mean? And kind of think you're right. You can't, I think you can only be a thought leader if you've actually got something to say that's relevant.
Correct.
And they're the people that you should probably be paying attention to.
I've got another question, also off script. Sorry, Sharron. Paying it forward. Oh. Talk to me about, because as you are prevalent in my feed, which I love.
Sorry about that.
No, I love it. Talk to me about that. It's a very interesting take, and maybe this should have waited for our section of the business. But I go, it's an interesting take, right? Because I mean, I'll let you explain it.
Of course, absolutely. And a lot of people ask me about this. They're like, what? What the fuck's going on there? So look, I'm just by nature, I am a generous type of person. I just, at the end of the day, I want humankind to be a better place. I'd love the world to be different, but it's not, and that's okay. But partly it came out of COVID. So when we started the business in 2019, so January 2019, so we had 12 months of normal life, and then that wonderful thing called COVID hit. And it was really probably the depths of the pandemic start. So it was really like March 2020 when I think a lot of people were just like, holy shit, like this is just going to decimate the economy. And people were losing their jobs. Like it's funny because COVID was a massive boom time. It actually turned out to be a huge hiring boom. But at the start, like I'd constantly be getting hit up by people just like, oh my God, I've lost my job, blah, 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 and kind of thing. And it was just constant. So at that point I was like, okay, I've just got to try and, if I can help someone get a job.
From a candidate perspective.
100%, yeah. If I can help someone get a job, it doesn't have to be anything to do with me. At the end of the day, another person employed, that's a good thing. So it kind of just really started there. And then I just kind of continued it. And look, I'm a realist. I know that we're not going to get every brief in the market. That's just not the way things go. But I do know that, by me doing that, I'm potentially alerting people to an opportunity that they may not be across. So it's, it's that type of thing, and I'm just naturally, I pay it forward.
It's very unusual for a recruitment. I would say a transactional recruitment company, because a transactional recruitment company would see that as a missed opportunity to spread a candidate into what's it called when you send a candidate? Float.
Yes, 100%. If my original director from my early days would be like, what the hell are you doing? But the funny thing is, it does pay it forward in a funny way, right?
Sure.
And it's probably the short term versus the long term is what we're kind of thinking. It's that longer term. And also, you know, and I always send a message and say, hey, I've shared this with my network, etc. Some of them don't have agency budget. They're like, I just can't, you know, and I get it. Like, I totally understand. I know those sorts of things. So, but again, it's just, you know, it's just part of who I am.
Thank you.
If you fast forward 10 years, what do you think you want to be known for? Will it change? Will it evolve? Will it be the same?
I love these legacy questions.
Yeah, God, it really starts you thinking the older you get as well. You go, God, it's actually not that far away. I'll be 58 by then, so I hope it changes because I do have different ambitions in terms of where I'd like to take the business, but also what I would like to achieve as well. So I think the next 10 years are probably going to be hopefully not more interesting, but more maybe a little bit rewarding and in a different way for me personally. So the last 8 years have been amazing and has been great to build what we've got, but now I've kind of got different ideas about where I want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Let's sort of close that sort of, before we close the getting to know you, and because we're going to jump into the business side in a second, we go, what does life look like outside of the business for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got my lovely husband, Greg, and we split our time between the Surf Coast and Melbourne because we just do. That's what we do. We originally lived down the coast, but we just realised that with family commitments and work, etc., we probably needed a base in Melbourne, so we did that a few years ago. I have a beautiful 10-year-old Staffy, blue Staffy named Sadie. She's my baby.
Sadie.
Yes.
This dog's called Sadie.
I was going to call my daughter Sadie.
Oh, yes. Well, her real
We
name
find out
is...
so much on these Juno podcasts are everyone should be listening.
And we adopted her at 9.
Oh, really?
So, yep.
So you've had her for a year?
We've had her for just over 18 months.
Wow.
So because we had a beautiful 15-year-old boy who passed away, and I just wasn't ready to have a puppy. I'm like, I'm too busy, and I'm just like, they're cute, but my God. So we adopted her. So she takes up a lot of my time. As I said, I'm from Perth, so mum and dad still live at home. And yeah, just I think friends and family are really important to me. I think the older you get, you realise how important those things are. Health, etc. So and travel, love travelling as well. So off to Europe in August, I think, for a few weeks. So
Exciting.
Amazing.
And do you, how do you balance, all of that? Is it a constant? Is it a constant effort to balance, so there's no such thing as balance?
Or do you just not balance?
Yeah.
Just push forward?
The biggest myth. The biggest myth is that you can have it all. Like, there is no balance. Like, let's be honest, and particularly as a founder, like, literally, my husband said last night, he goes, your job is just relentless. You're just always thinking about it. And it really is. It's like having, a 7-year-old toddler. Like, it's a toddler that never grows up. Do you know what I mean? Because you're constantly, and it's your baby and you love it and it's fantastic, but you worry about it. You worry about it. Is everything okay? Is everyone happy? You're responsible for other people and their mortgages and things like that. And, you're worrying about the world, and there's lots of things flying around. So I think balance would be lovely. I'd probably say, it's so funny, Evelina and I just discussed this morning, probably the last 12 months is the first time we've probably actually felt a bit of balance. So that's taken, 6-7 years. Yeah. And that's because we've got the business to a point where we've scaled it to the fact that we can step back a little bit.
Yeah.
But
it's so funny. So I was reading, I was doom scrolling this morning, and something came up about balance, and it was, and I'll probably get this completely wrong, but I think it was the ex-CEO of Pepsi, or the current CEO of Pepsi. And she's talking about, someone asked her a question about balance, and she's like, she didn't say it was bullshit, but she pretty much said that. And it was she gave this story about she forgot to bake cookies for her kids or something.
Indra Noory, the
ex-Pepsi CEO.
Ex-CEO of
She gave this
Pepsi.
thing, and she's like, and I'll give you an example. And she talks about how she forgot to bake her cookies, and she's, and she's, cut a very long story short, she got the people downstairs to bake homemade cookies because she couldn't buy them because then they'd look bored. And this whole saga around it. She rocked up and gave them to them. And she goes, it's not about balance. It's the real way. I think she used the word juggle, and it's just juggling and trying to make things work. And she's like, balance is a myth. There is no such thing if you are running a business as balance. It is juggling a whole bunch of different priorities to make them work. And she goes, I got the cookies done. That became the priority in that moment because my kid would have. A couple of you saw that. I literally watched that this morning.
She's great. I've seen her.
She's the ex-CEO, is she?
A long time ago, Pepsi.
She was so good.
Her biography is incredible.
Yeah, she's very good. Great read.
What was her name again?
Ingenuity.
Yeah.
Ingenuity.
Yeah.
The growth faculty bought her out one year.
Oh,
yeah, it was really impressive. She was really impressive.
Very impressive.
Thanks for listening to Part A, everyone. Stay tuned for exciting Part B in a couple of weeks with Sarah Donegan from Samuels Donegan.